Just a side note, just as my previous review I did, yeah, I'm still suffering from a cold, so yeah, my voice sounds a little funky. I do apologize. I probably slur some of my words in this video, so sorry. It's just what we're gonna have to deal with. So, well, on to the review. With my recent discussion of my quote unquote worst day ever at Six Flags Magic Mountain, I thought, why not talk about one of the highlights of my visit, which was Full Throttle, or also lovingly known as YOLO Coaster. Remember when YOLO was popular? Yeah, me neither. Well, just like Six Flags fashion, the park leached onto anything that seemed relevant and cool for the time. This review will be a retrospective review, as I'm basing my whole review off of my visit back in 2013, which was 6 years ago. Alright, let's launch into this review. Presentation. As is the case with basically every Six Flags coaster, there is little to no theming involved. Well, as I was just mentioning the whole YOLO thing, the park really tried to seize on that and as a theme of sorts. The ride queue entrance is designed to look like a concert stage. It has a DJ booth inside, though I don't think anyone was manning it when I visited. The music playing was, of course, dubstep, maybe a little trap or house music thrown in for good measure. They were, of course, music trends that were quite popular back in 2013. The actual station is themed to a concert stage, but very basic. The trains are nothing to look at, which seems to be the case with most attractions by Premier Rides. Well, that's actually until the West Coast Racers, but different topic. The music and effects that you were experiencing during the tunnel is neat, not overdone, but something to enhance this beyond your typical roller coaster. The ride's main inversion, the giant loop, is also part of the ride's whole presentation. The structural engineering that went into this ride is really something to look at. It's unfortunate that we can't have two coaster trains on this loop structure at once, but regardless, it's one of the coolest looking loops out there. Alright, taking into fact that this is a Six Flags coaster, I think a presentation score of 8 sounds about right. The park looks like they put some effort into the ride presentation, even if it was done on a budget. Ride intensity. Full Throttle has a decent launch, not overly intense like a hydraulic launch, but it has a little kick to it. The ride has a couple moments of solid airtime, including one great pop of strong ejector, and of course the ride's ever-famous hang time moment. The giant loop is the ride's centerpiece. The second inversion of the ride is a unique looking dive loop, which has a little air time involved. The second and third launches are also quite fun, but they're not as intense, I guess. The third launch does get some good speed, but the ride comes to an abrupt halt midway down the ride's biggest drop. The brakes actually start on that final huge drop, which ironically is where you get the most intense experience of the ride. Another score of 8 should do nicely for intensity, because you need to take into consideration the airtime and the amount of hang time this ride has. You basically hang there for a few seconds during that giant, intimidating loop. Fun factor. Full Throttle is one great ride that's loads of fun. The only reason I'm not going to give this a perfect 10 score for the fun factor is because of how short the second half feels. It's like the ride is really starting to heat things up, then it's over. Kinda reminds me of Tennessee Tornado. Both roller coasters still have a good amount of life left in them before you reach the brake run. The giant loop is this coaster's main element. The hang time is insane, nothing else quite like it. You also feel like you're going to be stuck upside down, which is also pretty terrifying. Six Flags Magic Mountain, basing this off of my 2013 trip, arguably doesn't have many great coasters. The park has a ton of filler rides. Of course, they now have Twisted Colossus, which I hear is fantastic. But beyond that, I would say this one is one of their best coasters in the park. X2 was closed when I visited, so I don't have that as an opinion here. Other people say that you either hate it or love it. Full Throttle is that coaster that Six Flags Magic Mountain really needed, and it fits nicely into the park. I'm giving Full Throttle a score of 9 for the fun factor. Originality. Honestly, there's really nothing else quite like this attraction. Full Throttle came out the time that Skyrocket 2 models started to pick up, so the forward and backward launch thing was still relatively new. The loop isn't a new element, but the sheer size of it makes it unique and original. The layout is also quite funky looking. It's technically a terrain coaster, using its surrounding to their full effect. I think Full Throttle deserves a perfect score of 10 for originality. Smoothness. Basing this off of my 2013 experience, the ride is butter smooth. I haven't heard anything recently saying it's developed a rattle or anything, but yeah, it's perfectly smooth. I have no complaints in this department, so I'm giving Full Throttle another perfect 10 score for smoothness. The final tally comes to 9, which is an excellent score. When you look at the whole package, Full Throttle has a lot going for it. The ride length somewhat holds this coaster back from reaching its full potential, but for what it is, this is a great, fun attraction that you need to try out at least once. The hang time on the giant loop is something every coaster enthusiast needs to experience. My personal rating is also going to be a 9. It's an all-around great coaster that really fits in nicely at Six Flags Magic Mountain. I'm sure this is fighting words, but Six Flags Magic Mountain, in my own opinion, doesn't have a good coaster lineup. Of course, this opinion will change once West Coast Racer opens. Then you will have a few solid top-tier attractions, but back in 2013, I left this park really wanting more than what I got. As I already mentioned, I didn't get to ride X2, and I didn't ride Superman Escape from Krypton, but I don't know if those two rides would really change my opinion. Well, this review isn't of the park, just Full Throttle, which as I said already is a great ride. Don't miss it during your next trip to the park. Thank you for watching today's review. Check out some of my other reviews. I have over 40 different reviews out there. Maybe one of them is of your favorite coaster. Who knows? Just check them out. Also, please subscribe. Stay tuned for more great content coming your way by XscreamThrills.